All right, people, how's it going? It's time to put a pin, or one of a couple different pins, in the 2023 NFL Combine. I know we've all moved on because the Geno Smith news came out yesterday, and we're all still kind of high on that. But I do want to take a few minutes here to go over the last bit of hard data from the NFL Combine. Yesterday, the running backs and the offensive linemen went on the bench press, and those two positions, bench press can matter. Like, you can learn stuff from seeing running backs and offensive linemen bench press. So I wanted to discuss this. I want it to be part of the picture here when we're evaluating these guys for the draft. I want it to be understood that this is stuff that matters, especially when you're trying to find a power back, right? You want strong guys. You want guys who are not going to go down easily, guys who can fight through tackles. So, with that being said, we're going to take a look at some of these bench press numbers, starting with running backs. And before we start, I want to give a frame of reference. Over the last 20 years, the all-time combine bench press record was set by a fullback in 2013, Tommy Bohannon of Wake Forest, 36 reps. For an actual running back, the record is Alex Barnes with 34. So that's like the peak. That's like as good as it gets for running back bench press. So when you take a look at this year's crop and you see first place did 25, you can see, well, no running back really came close to the gold standard for the position. In fact, they were well off it. But 25 reps is the best that we have from this crop. And hey, I praised him in my video earlier, so we got to do it again. Chase Brown. Chase Brown had a killer combine. His on-field work stuff was great. He was fast. He was agile. He caught the ball well. He was explosive, reasonably so anyway. And now he's by far the best bench press lifter. So yeah, Chase Brown, monster combine from him. Definitely one of the running backs that, even as a fan of a team that doesn't really need a running back like a Chase Brown, because we're looking for a power back, he's got to get you a little excited now, right? He's just a good player. He's just a phenomenal athlete, and this combine has done wonders for his draft stock. And second place was another guy I praised in my video yesterday, Evan Hull, with 21 reps, which that's not a ton, but when you combine that with the other things that Evan Hull did during the combine, the way he looked in his run workout, the way he was able to catch the ball, the effort he showed, it comes together into a pretty nice picture here. So definitely good news for those two guys who I already praised some. Now, one thing that should be said is not a lot of running backs did the bench press. This year we had 7. So we're working from a pretty small sample size here, and everything's going to be graded on a curve. Other than those two guys and I guess Tank Bigsby, who I didn't like that much yesterday, everyone else was kind of in the same collection of ability on the bench press, right? Like 17, 18, 18, 19, 20, like it's all kind of meshed together. I will say, I think Zach Charbonnet overall had a pretty good combine. I liked his testing numbers, but I would have liked a little more than 18 reps, given the fact that I do view him as somebody who's going to be trying to run people over at the next level. He's a heavier guy. Overall, I still say I like him, and I think he overall had a decent combine, but I don't think he had a great combine. This is not exactly what I was looking for. He had one more bench press rep than Deuce Vaughn. And Deuce Vaughn's like, what, 5'1" or something? He weighs like 82 pounds. I don't know, but he's the really small running back. Charbonnet should be doing a little bit better than that, you would think. But that's basically it for the running backs. I don't think anybody here comes off too badly. Charbonnet's a little disappointing, but not terrible. Okay, so now let's take a look at the offensive linemen. And again, I want to make sure the standard is understood here. If you go to the all-time record for bench press at the combine for offensive linemen, Mitch Petrus set it 13 years ago with 45 reps. Muti, remember Muti a few years ago in the draft? I remember him. I remember looking at him a lot. Is second place with 44 reps, and I believe number 1 for any guard. And Russell Bodine set the mark for a center at 42. So some pretty high numbers here for these offensive linemen. Again, this is in the last, I believe, 20 years. I know there have been offensive linemen who did more reps than this, like Larry Allen, but those guys are not included here. So with that being said, did we have any guys approach the gold standard in this category? Actually, yes. Andrew Voorhees did a lot for him. Unfortunately, it didn't make up for what he didn't do on this combine week. 38 reps. And here's the thing, and this is the good news and the bad news. The good news is he did it on an injured leg. I think he either tore his ACL or Achilles. I can't remember which one, but it was bad. So he was able to do 38 reps, by far leading the pack for this crew of offensive linemen, with a bum leg. Unfortunately, he has the bum leg, and it actually happened during the combine. So Andrew Voorhees, his stock still drops overall because he got hurt, and that sucks because this is a really impressive number, and it definitely would have moved his stock up. Other than that, I want to shout out Oluwatimi, who I wasn't too impressed with his athleticism scores and on the field work on what was it? I guess it was Sunday. Yeah, Sunday. But he did have the best rep count for any center in this draft at 29. Not a huge number, but 29, that's one of the best numbers here. So I would say that overall, Oluwatimi's combine was okay. So I feel like my perception of him hasn't shifted that much. I will say we need athletic centers in this offense, I believe. And if Oluwatimi can't be that, then that's not so great. But as a prospect in general, still not bad. But equaling him would be Luke Whippler of Ohio State, 29 reps, same as Oluwatimi. And Luke Whippler actually had a nice combine the previous day. So Oluwatimi redeemed himself a little bit, but Whippler, I think, is starting to extend himself as being, other than John Michael Schmitz, the best center in this class. And somebody who, if you get in the third round, you'd feel really, really good about. So I would say that those two guys did well here, and it deserves calling out that they managed 29 reps each. You go down the list a little bit more. You got Alex Forsyth here, another center. 29 reps, pretty good amount of strength there. So that's promising to me. He's going to be a guy that maybe you get as a backup later in the draft. Avila, 28 reps, solid. There isn't a whole lot Avila can do one way or the other to make me feel differently about him. He's all right. I'm not in love with him, but he's a good player. I don't see the enthusiasm behind spending like a first round pick on him the way some people do. So moving on, John Michael Schmitz, a day after having a really disappointing testing day, like really disappointing, did okay. 26 reps is middling, but overall I feel like John Michael Schmitz was a guy who had a chance to really burst onto the scene here and maybe even be a middle first round pick with a big combine. Instead, I'm sitting here looking at him and going, I don't know if I want you until the middle of the second round now. Like, this number of reps combined with his low testing scores, not really feeling it anymore, but this number's okay. And then you start getting into the guys who weren't so great, like Osiris Torrance, who is already kind of slow and doesn't move well, and Jarrett Patterson, who is similarly not a guy who's going to be a move lineman. They both had relatively low rep counts, 23 and 22. Now, here's the thing about those two guys. They play football, and they play football well. I don't think this should kill anyone's interest in them, but I'm not seeing the athleticism or the strength that makes me feel like they're beasts. And that's really all I got. That's my main takeaways from this collection of players from the bench press. Let me know what you guys think. See you guys later. Go Hawks.